So, okay, so this was great. Great discourse here, going back and forth. Appreciate everybody's commentary on this. Let's go to the next topic. Look, we know what happened yesterday. It's all over the news. Facebook, WhatsApp. Instagram, everybody's texting. Is your Facebook? You text me first, like, guys, is my Facebook? Is it just me? Because you're thinking maybe it's me. It's like it's the world that was taken down.
They got me. Gerard, they got me.
But real quick to conspiracy theory. You noticed that I was at a conference at the forum yesterday, and at first they're blocking me, man. It's all I knew it. They're on to me, and then it was the world. It was the world, bro.
Be fair. You didn't believe I was actually shadow banned on Instagram, and then you saw it. What did you see? Tell the world.
They don't like you. They don't like you. They don't want you to be heard, and maybe for good reason, Gerard.
All right, so let's talk about this article from CNN. Okay, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp goes down. Facebook's week just went from bad to worse. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp all suffered outage midday Monday. We're aware that some people are having trouble accessing our apps and products, Facebook said on Twitter. The outage came the morning after 60 Minutes aired a segment in with Facebook whistleblower Francis Hagen claimed the company is aware of its platforms are used to spread hate, violence, and misinformation, and that Facebook has tried to hide that evidence. Shares of Facebook were down more than 5% in midday trading Monday, putting it on pace for its worst trading day in nearly a year. Now, here's what's crazy about it. While this is going on yesterday, you're at that event. Yeah. I'm interviewing a guy named Sean Spiegel, who's a whistleblower who used to work at Facebook as a moderator, okay? So he went from a moderator of choosing the regular things that's coming up, memes, all this stuff. Then he gets promoted to the next level where he really saw the kind of videos that was being put up. By the way, I've never had a warning at the beginning of an interview where I personally come up and I say, don't watch this interview, okay? I'm telling people, do not watch it because how uncomfortable and disturbing this video is. Now, if you want to be aware, watch the interview, but I'm telling you in advance, so we put a warning sign, we put all that stuff in this interview. Have we ever done this before in any interview? We've never done this with any.
Was this a pre-planned interview? It just had crazy timing?
You called me, I was talking to him.
No, meaning, did you set this up weeks in advance, or did you say, yo,
No. This was set up.
Facebook is down, get him on the line now?
It just so happened that it was it was a coincidence.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. It was pre-planned.
No, this interview is supposed to go out in 2-3 weeks. It's not scheduled to go out this week. David, yes or no?
Yeah, correct. This was just a complete coincidence.
This is complete. So yesterday, I'm saying, so Gerard comes out of nowhere and he says, he just got back from New York. Says, Pat, do you mind if I sit in? Okay, do you mind if I sit in and listen to this? Okay, the stuff I heard, my stuff, it's this. He said the environment at this place as a moderator, his job is to look at everything that's coming. There's about 1,000 people that work there. This is a company that was contracted out with Facebook that eventually they said, we're not going to work for you anymore. A company that does $16 billion per year, Cognizant Technology Solutions. It's a $16 billion a year company. It's not a small company. Anyways, he says, in our facility, there was 1,000 of us working there. It was 2 bathrooms that they had there. There was, what did he say was always on the wall? He says, people would poop and pee in the what do you call it, in the sink.
Yeah, they were so they were so mentally broken. They were so mentally broken that after weeks on the job, people would start smearing feces on the wall and start.
It's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not. Let's just say that's a 2. That's a 2. The stories he says goes. David, would you agree? I'm not even going to tell you the stories because it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very graphic.
Very shocking.
As graphic as you could possibly
And what's
imagine.
the reasoning behind this?
So
these guys aren't enslaved. They can choose to work here, right?
No. It's very, very odd. Very, very odd dynamic.
Explain it.
Well, it's
Yeah.
extremely uncomfortable. He says at any point somebody's sitting there, your job is to watch the video and then send a report to Facebook. This video needs to be taken down. And Facebook comes back and says, no, that video is going to stay up because this is a private group and it's not a public group and it's only a private group, so therefore we're going to leave this up.
Yeah.
And he says Facebook's position was, the more videos like this we keep up, the FBI and cops are going to be able to find the bad guy to go get him. And the guy's like, that's not what's happening. And then I said, let me go a little bit deeper with this. By the way, he says people are doing this, watching videos, all of a sudden they're throwing up. He says at any point, people were throwing up at their workplace. He says it smelled, it was horrible, it was horrific, terrible situation at this workplace, what they're doing. Because somebody has to watch his videos. So anyways, this happens, we interview him. Then Facebook is down. Then we go live with it yesterday. I've never had this many people message me about an interview I did. Pat, I'm having a hard time watching this. This is crazy. And the guy is, would you say he's part of the LGBT
No,
community?
he said
Oh,
that.
he said he's. He made a comment.
Yeah. He is. He's not by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a MAGA guy. This is not anybody that's far right. This is a guy who is an animal rights activist and sympathetic to the LGBT movement, and those were his words. And you know.
He cried in the interview when he started talking about animals and what they were doing to
what
kids.
They do to the
Flat
animals,
out started
what
crying.
they do to the kids.
Yeah.
What
Who's they? People around the world? Who? Specific
So
countries?
people.
Specific people?
Yeah.
Like-
Apparently, there's an entire look. This is snuff. This is nothing more. This is a snuff. This is snuff. And there's groups where people go and they pay and they use the Facebook Marketplace to pay for these videos. I mean, he described. He described bestiality. He described forced incest. He described animal cruelty while bestiality was occurring. I mean, like really, as
by
graphic,
the way, when he said
like hell, like what you would imagine would be in hell.
Gerard, I did not know what bestiality meant. I put on Google while he's talking bestiality.
Yeah.
And I'm like, close immediately.
Yeah.
The stuff that he's talking
not
about.
Good.
No, I mean,
not good.
And this is the reason why people watching the videos are puking, throwing up, going fucking
no,
insane.
bro. If you hear the video, like there's one situation with a pig.
Yeah.
That's
Put it like this, Adam.
Yeah, it's
when I walked in the office and I saw Pat and Gerard and they were explaining this stuff, they were shook. I mean, it was like it was very like the vibe was
and
really.
There's no reason to assume the guy's lying. We haven't verified it. Like we're still in the process of verifying his claims. We're trying to get 2 or 3 other people to verify it as well to make sure that what he's saying is not exaggerated in any way. So look, take it anecdotally at this point, right? This is one guy.
Put one of the clips. To, you know which one I'm talking about. So I asked him a question. I say, so can you check anybody's
that's a whole separate beyond. And like this was insane. This was crazy.
Okay, just watch this. Go ahead and press play. Is that the one? I say, do you guys check instant messenger? So you guys were able to see what's being said in the instant messenger and text messages, or no?
Yes.
Also, whatever we post there and we're communicating, you see all of it?
Yes, absolutely.
Everything that's communicated here, if you wanted to see all of it, you can easily see it.
Yes.
And
yes.
You have access to who? Like, is there levels of clearance on who you have access to? Want to be able to go see? Let me see if this one guy I don't like. Let me see what he stands for. I'm going to go see what this guy's saying to this person here. Could you do that, or was there limitations to what they sent to you?
No. In the general queue, there were limitations. Where I was, there were not.
Were you ever tempted to see some
do you
conversations? Hang on.
understand?
Were higher ups or Go no? back a little bit.
I was tempted.
Go back a
yes.
little bit. Okay, go ahead.
Or not.
Go ahead. Were you ever tempted to see some conversations of people that were higher ups or no?
I was tempted, yes, but not specifically higher ups. I have to be honest, politics isn't my thing. I was more curious about seeing what my cousin was saying up in Georgia.
He's working there and he wants to go see what his cousin says, but he has access to everybody.
But what he said was politics weren't his thing.
Yeah.
But the place was the most politically
he
charged
talked about
place
that.
he's
He
ever
talked
been in.
about that, yeah.
Yeah. And politics, people were there specifically because of their politics. And that to me was the most shocking part. I mean, the what he was saying about the bestiality was gross. But anybody that's ever had live leaks, seen the internet, you know that this stuff's out there and it's heinous. The fact that anybody can have access to anybody's WhatsApp, anybody's instant messenger, not stuff that was reported, dude, not something that somebody manually reports. He could go search Adam Sosnick's DMs, pull it up, and read them. See them.
You don't want no part of that, dude.
You
don't want to see those DMs.
I think I want some of them DMs, dude. This is
privacy. Okay, there's a part of it when he says, "I just care what my cousin in Georgia said." It's funny, obviously,
Meaning he could spy on his cousin in Georgia. I didn't take that so funny, humorously.
But if he wants to see what 2 senators are talking to each other, and they're, if he wants to see what anybody in power, to go back and look at all their history, everything, he can find that out. And that's Facebook. So this is not Facebook. This is a third party Facebook's given access
That's
to.
what's crazy.
So think about
third
that.
party.
That's what's crazy.
Third party.
Yeah, so this
And
is
it
a
was
third
general
party.
queue.
So then here's a question I asked, because when I was with Rogan,
Hillary Clinton's servers.
if you remember when I was with Rogan, we talked about Jack Dorsey. And he said, I like Jack. He says, I like what he's doing. And Jack went on 2 times. The first time people said you didn't push him too hard. He came back and he pushed him a little bit harder with some of the question.
With his general counsel there, though.
I get that. But the part is when he said, you know, Jack wants Twitter to be more open. He would like it to be 2 different formats with Twitter. One is like on the back end where you can say free for all, do whatever you want to say.
He wanted 2 Twitters, I believe.
He wanted 2 Twitters, yeah. So for me, I go and I ask the one question. I said, okay, Facebook, like yesterday. We haven't even gone to what we think happened yesterday. That's really what we got to get into because I got thoughts. Yeah. So I said, let's give the guy the benefit of the doubt. They got 60,000 plus employees. Okay, that doesn't count contractors. So add another 100,000 contractors, people that are working offsite, but they're not W-2. They're 1099 contracts that they're working. Whatever the numbers, let's just say 60,000 employees. Maybe he doesn't know what's going on. Maybe he doesn't know what's going on.
Okay.
But listen, you got I got stuff going on here. We got 40 employees, but you guys go out. I don't even know where you guys went. I don't know what's going on. So imagine with 40, I don't know what's going on. You think you're going to know with 60,000? We got 16,000, 17,000 insurance agents in 150 offices nationwide. You think I know everything that's going on? No. So go to 60,000 employees because could this be a part where when you're a CEO at this level, he's probably got 30 C-suite executives. He's got 20 C-suite executives. Who are the people that knew? Did they report up? Did the people at the top know? Why is this content being left up? This is a compliance issue. So this leads to yesterday, Facebook going down. So why did Facebook go down? Let's talk about possibilities. I'll throw some out there, and then you give yours. Go ahead. You have a thought.
Yeah. Before we get into that, more importantly, you also asked him about how does shadow banning work, and do they act? You said I've been doing this for a long time.
Gosh.
He admitted admitted to social engineering. There's videos. Pat said I've been doing this for a long time, and the videos they'll rise, then they'll peter off. But there's some videos they rise, and then they fall off a cliff. Is that organic? Or he goes, absolutely not. That's somebody saying that they don't want this message out there, and they just turn it off. They just turn it off. They said
somebody saying, like one person making that decision.
I said the same thing. Who has that decision?
Have that kind of authority.
Who has that power?
Not at his level. No. He reports and gives Facebook what to do. Facebook chooses what they want to do with it. And they can't delete anything.
Yeah.
They simply watch and send in. That's what his job is. And then Facebook has to decide. So on a couple of the instances, Facebook left the stuff up and he kept going back. They said, no, this is going to stay up. We're not taking this down. So, but
Facebook has to be aware, like the whistleblower story I know we're going to get into, but Facebook has to be aware that Sean Spiegel, or whatever his name is, or Billy McGillicuddy, or John Doe is going to be able to speak out about this. Like, this guy has no loyalty to Facebook. At any point, he can do an interview with you. He gets fired, doesn't like his job. People are thrown up around him. He fucking quits. And now he can do it. Like, how many? There's 1,000 people working in a room, and this is what they're doing.
You're right.
How many of them can speak out?
You're right.
Facebook has to know that.
They're so arrogant, I think. I think that they know that they can control the narrative to such a level, right? That they know. Right? They know. Like, look, even in our minds, there's a little bit in all of us right now that are saying, man, we're talking about this stuff. We're really going there. We're talking. Each one of us, if we're being honest, we're saying, look, we're doing it. We're going for it, man. And we hope the listeners appreciate this because we're all putting ourselves out there. What is that? What is that inside of all of us? Because all of us know that these guys are all holding it over us at all the time. When that guy said it, Pat asked that question yesterday, and I was sitting in the back. I said, holy shit, this guy just admitted to social engineering. That's not moderation.
But by the way,
that's manipulation.
The way he said it, he says, I said, do you have a problem with what they're doing on the left and the right? He says, well, on the right, there were people on the right that were saying, what were the stuff that they were saying? I asked him a question. I said, you think Trump should be off of Facebook? You think he should be off? He says, well, let me think about this one here, because on one end, if he was a regular person doing what he was doing, probably yes, if he was a regular person. But if he's the president and he's doing what he's doing in the January 6th event, yes, he kind of went up there and he's the one that started it. But later on that night at 6 o'clock, he did come and tell people, go home. And this guy's like, he's going through the sequence on how he's explaining it, right? And then he says, no, I think he should still be on. And then he says, I said, what were the people pushing on the right? So what did he say on the right?
The left was on?
No, the right. The right was pushing.
Just being nasty, bullying libtards.
Bullying. Yeah, that's right. So, and then he said on the left, there's too much push on kids being part of the LGBTQ community, which I support. He says, which I support.
He supports the LGBT community.
He says it's too big of a push amongst kids, and he says it's too big of a push on transgender have an influence over kids, and that's being left out there. And this
segregation.
Yeah.
You said the left is they don't want to coexist. There's too many people that just they think there should be two worlds.
By the way, if you watch this interview, you'll say this guy's on the left. You won't say this guy's on the right. Like if you watch this guy, you're not going to say, oh, he's a supporter of, well, he's
center, really, right? I mean,
no, I don't think he's center. I'm going to put this guy center left because there were still some areas, but for the most part, he's tried to stay as reasonable as possible.
Yeah.
He was trying to be as reasonable possible, very level-headed.
The craziest part of the interview, for people that haven't seen it, is how matter-of-factly he answered these insane questions. Like, he's, are we watching, like, it was like a gotcha question. Like, are you guys listening to our messages? Yeah, absolutely. What? Yeah. Can you search messages from? Yeah, no problem. So wait, is Facebook turning off viral content? Yeah, they determine what messages they want out. Like he was just so matter of fact. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was like bone chilling how matter of fact this guy was about the social engineering.
In your opinion, what level of credibility does this guy have? 1 through 10. In your opinion,
I'm going to give this guy 7, 8.
Okay.
Yeah. And let me tell you.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a bone to pick with Facebook. He has a bone to pick. He's an animal activist. His main goal was just to like
purely animal.
Yeah.
No, it's all about animal. He saw one time he saw a video about. I said, what was the most disturbing video? He said, one time there was a video. These two boys. Yes. Were taking the iguanas from the tail, and they were smashing the iguanas on the ground so hard, and iguanas were having to scream. I never knew iguanas could scream like that, and they're hitting the head.
Yeah.
And they did this with different types of animals, and they would put it in their private Facebook group, and that stayed on.
Silence of the Lamb stuff.
He says, like, iguana, like it was so like, who sits, so you have to know how he's wired. He's
let me ask you, this is just a hypothetical. Sick stuff that's going on, right? Sick stuff. Without Facebook, without social media, these fucking sickos would be doing this regardless. Mm-hmm. Regardless. Mm-hmm. Now they're doing it for the world to see or for people to see. And maybe they could be held accountable for their heinous acts. Mm-hmm. Is that maybe a good thing that you could hold these people accountable? Because there's people.
That question. We talked about that.
I mean, I know a buddy of mine. He's fine now. I mean, ironically, he's a big MAGA guy. But this guy would put his cat in the microwave as a kid. 5 seconds. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, you fucking weirdo?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this isn't cool. Like, we're all, we're 12 years old. Like, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
Ha. Like, not cool.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is pre-social media stuff. This is minor, whatever. But there's people that do this sick stuff.
Yeah, no.
And as much as we're railing against social media right now, maybe it's, it's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot.
It almost
maybe
sounds like their job isn't to, they're sending this to Facebook. They're not sending this shit to the authorities.
Mm-hmm. But if the authorities can see this kind of stuff,
again, you guys got to watch the video. He brought up that claim, and he was like, "We need to bring this to the authorities." And then, according to him, he was like, "Facebook was like, we don't need that type of publicity. We don't need that." If the authorities.
So Facebook doesn't want to be cop, because if they become cop, the category of the type of business they become changes, and you as the user lose trust in community. Like even right now, we talked about the fact that the guy says they can read every message. What percentage of the people that are listening are kind of like, oh, so I'm going to make sure I filter out those 3 things I would say. Some people probably want to play. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
I think people are just going to carry on with their lives.
But no. But 10% is 10%. 10% is not a small number. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.